and welcome back to Sports the NEMO Way, the Cincinnati Reds episode. So, as you can probably imagine, we are going to be talking about the Cincinnati Reds Mount Rushmore. Yes, a pretty storied franchise, to be honest with you, with the big red machine, especially the dominant 70s era from this team. Unfortunately, only four of us are here again tonight. Drew is gone again. I mean, the bum just keeps making other plans. So we'll just move on without him, I suppose. Hopefully he's back next week. But other than that, let's get started. Wade, who is your number 4 Reds Mount Rushmore member?
I went with Frank Robinson.
Ooh, Frank Robinson.
Right.
Drew went with Robinson as well. I have Drew's list.
Awesome.
I do not have Frank Robinson, but I do like Frank Robinson.
Yeah, he was kind of my number 5. He was right there.
Well, he's my number 4 because he did go other places, but he did spend the first 10 years of his career with the Reds. In those 10 seasons, he batted .303 with a .389 on base, .554 slugging. In just 10 seasons, had 324 homers and over 1,000 RBIs, over 300 doubles, 50 triples, over 160 stolen bases. Won Rookie of the Year as a Red, won the MVP in '61 as a Red, made 9 All-Star games in 10 seasons as a Red, won a Gold Glove. Yeah, I mean, he's probably one of the 15 to 20 greatest hitters to ever play. We're talking about a guy that ended up with just under 600 home runs and was like 50-some hits away from 3,000. I mean, he's one of the all-time greatest players, and the largest stint of his career was as a Red, and yeah, he MVP, Rookie of the Year, Gold Gloves, an All-Star 9 out of 10 years. I mean, he's an all-time great. Spent 10 years in Cincinnati. So
His nickname was Pencils.
Well, I don't know much about that.
Me neither.
You said what?
Pencils.
Pencils?
Yeah, pencils.
Oh
Not even gonna
yeah.
say much more. But yeah, Frank Robinson is a beast. So who all had Frank Robinson?
Me and Drew.
Oh, gotcha. All right. Anybody else have anything to add on Frank Robinson before we move on?
No.
All right. Uncle Doug, do you have a 4 for us?
I do. I went back and forth between Frank Robinson and Joey Votto.
It's my
I'm going Joey.
He's my number 4 as well.
So that's 2? 3? 2 3?
Just 2 of us, I
2,
believe. Yeah.
That's just it. Batting average of .302, 2,000 hits, 331 homers, 1,065 RBIs. Looks like he led the league in doubles once. On base percentage 7 times. Slugging once. OPS a couple times. Had a pretty good stretch with 24, 25, 37, 29, 14, 24 home runs. Down a year at 6, then back up 29, 29, 36. Another 36 later in his career.
He won an MVP, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
2010.
Yeah, MVP, 6 All-Stars, Gold Glove.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. He's known for being like the on-base percentage monster of his era, right?
Yeah.
Like he was the on-base machine.
His on-base percentage for his career is over 400.
Yeah, that's terrific.
Yeah. I mean, he led the league in walks 5 times.
Yeah. Didn't he have like one season in particular where it was like crazy high?
Looks like his highest season is 474.
474. That's nuts. You don't see a lot of that nowadays outside of steroid Barry Bonds.
Yeah, I mean, he batted .337 and then also had 94 walks.
It's just super impressive, man. It really is. I always really liked Joey Votto, personally.
Yeah.
He's definitely was the face of the Reds for this
Quite a
past
while.
generation. Yeah.
I mean, it kind of sucks that, like, at least like the whole second half of his career, he played with like zero talent. They won't
Yeah.
they won't spend any money out there.
Yeah.
There were,
Like,
he
They
only
were
really
really
had
bad for
a
a while.
couple years in his prime where they had the potential to compete, and then when they had like Brandon Phillips and him, and they had a couple other guys, but they weren't like a dominant team. They were a decent team that made a couple playoff.
in
Made the
his
playoffs a couple times, right?
Yeah.
in his MVP season, Brandon Phillips was there, Scott Rowland was there, and Jay Bruce was there.
Okay.
He also played with Adam Dunn for a couple years,
I remember, yeah.
but he's not on this team.
When you figure a lot of his career there, the Cardinals were really good. Went to a couple World Series in there.
The Cubs would have won a
Brewers-
World Series.
Cubs won a World Series. The Brewers came up and were really good for a while.
Yeah.
And that's all in their division.
Yeah.
You know, so the Reds, them and the Pirates were kind of battling it out for the bottom there.
Well,
Yeah.
for like 20 years straight there, didn't the Cardinals usually win at least like 90 games for the most part?
Pretty close.
With that, there was usually maybe a year or two where they might do a quick little short rebuild, but I felt like the Cardinals always won like 90 games.
Well, the Cardinals and Reds had a pretty contentious
Yeah.
span there for
They had
The,
2 or 3
the
years.
Johnny Cueto stuff.
Yeah, the Cueto stuff where
Yeah.
he kicked the guy. And,
Yeah.
yeah,
They had a giant brawl at one point, didn't
yes,
they?
they did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they end up pinning Johnny Cueto to like the screen, and he ended up like climbing into the screen and using his spikes and like kicking people and like hurting people.
Yeah, there was a
Oh,
catcher
shit.
that I don't think he
Yeah.
ever came back. I think that was kind of the end of his career.
Wow.
Um,
That sucks.
I mean, it wasn't Pujols, obviously. It was, or not Pujols, but
Yachty.
Yachty. It was like the backup catcher or somebody was there. And, yeah, it was. There was definitely some bad blood there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anybody else have anything to add on old Joey Votto before we move on?
Yep.
Mm.
All right. Well, does anybody have a 4 left?
I do.
Ray, who you got, buddy?
We got Mr. Barry Larkin.
Well, I looked at
I
Larkin
thought
a
about
lot.
Barry.
Yeah.
I wanted to put Barry Larkin on, to be honest with you, because I knew he had an MVP. But when I got on here and looked, I was just like, I think I got other guys I'm gonna go with.
Right, and I feel that, but I felt like this is like the face of the Reds during the time I was watching baseball.
Yeah. He was the guy before Votto.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he was.
And he was really good. I liked Barry a lot.
Unfortunately, he's another guy that, for the majority of his career, the Reds sucked.
Yeah,
Yeah.
except for that, one World Series?
Yeah,
That
they
was
won
like
in
it.
90.
Yeah,
right?
90, 91 or
Ni-
something.
But yeah, I mean, like, I watched, again, like Ray said, the 90s and early 2000s was like what I grew up like watching baseball, and like the Reds sucked during that time, and Barry Larkin was their only good player. So,
Yeah.
like,
Well, then they went out and got him Griffey, and then that's when Griffey got injury prone.
yeah.
Yeah, I think the only player that we had was like Reggie Sanders and part-time Dion.
I forgot about Reggie Sanders. Yeah, he was good there for a little while.
Mhm.
Well, let's look. I'm just looking at Larkin's MVP season. Oh, Brett Boone was there,
Brett Boone, yeah.
and Reggie Sanders. Oh, and Darren Lewis. Darren Lewis, sorry. He played for the Red Sox, and that's how he used to say his name.
Oh.
And you could say it up on the scoreboard like,
Mm.
"Oh, I'm Alex Holtz or whatever." Then he would say Darren Lewis. Yeah, no, not exactly a collection of. Well, I don't even know who most of your teammates are. Oh, Ron Gant's here.
I mean, we had O'Neill for a while from the Yankees.
Oh, Paul O'Neill.
We had Paul O'Neill for a while. Bip Roberts was the main pitcher I remember. But other than that, I'm getting a fog.
I'm kind of. Well, can we look at Larkin's stats for his MVP year?
I got him right here. He hit .319 with 15 home runs, 66 RBIs, and 51 stolen bases.
Okay.
And they're talking about the mid '90s.
Did he win a Gold Glove at least that year?
That's a good question.
Yep. And a Silver Slugger.
Okay. He has 9 Silver Sluggers.
Mm-hmm.
9?
That's shortstops really hit.
Mm-hmm. He was losing. He lost some early Gold Gloves to Ozzie. But
Yeah.
Ozzie was pushing for the Silver Slugger.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there for a while. I mean, everyone knew Ozzy was going to win in the National League at shortstop. I don't think that was much of a question for a while.
I am interested about. I hope we do 1995 on our MVP stuff because
I'm not overwhelmed by his MVP numbers.
no, I'm pulling it up just so we can look.
I mean, the batting average is pretty good, but not great. The power numbers are
well,
Stolen bases are nice.
I'm just gonna tell you who came. Well, I'll tell you the stats for the guy that came in second place. I won't even tell you who it is.
Okay.
He hit 340,
Okay.
so 21 points higher. He hit 40 home runs, had 128 RBIs. Both those led the league. He had 197 hits, which led the league. 100 runs, 13 stolen bases, so not as many. And he had a 620 slug, which led the league.
Jesus, he led the league in everything except for MVPs, apparently.
And stolen bases.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was Dante Bichette. Roly poly.
Oh, that's not the name I was expecting, but I mean, that's a hell of a year.
The guy that came in third place was old Greg Maddux, who went 19-2, led the league in wins, with a 1.63 ERA, which led the league, a WHIP below 1,
Okay, you
which
remember
led the league.
back in one of the MVP conversations we had, and we asked if a pitcher should win. That's what you got to do to win the MVP as a pitcher. Something that nuts. 19-2, he only lost 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
ERA said of 1.6.
1.63,
Dude,
and a WHIP of 0.81.
That's insane.
That is.
So I wonder why they voted Barry that year. I wonder.
I don't know.
Maybe we should quit talking about it and do it in the episode and do it at the end of the episode or something.
Yeah.
Wow.
Ooh.
I don't know. Well, I guess I'll say this. Barry Larkin got 281 votes. Okay. Bichette got 251 and Maddox got 249.
Oh wow, that is close.
Yeah.
Because here's another thing. Piazza had himself a nice season too. He hit 346 with 32 home runs and 93 RBIs.
And he's a catcher.
And he's a catcher, yeah. And then you got Tony Gwynn, who batted 368.
Yikes. We're missing something. Something had to have happened with Larkin that amazed people and
What
you know,
year was it?
when you're looking back at stuff and you're just looking at
95.
95.
you know what I'm saying? Like when you look back on stuff and you just look at numbers, there's usually like part of the story that you're not getting. But with it being so long ago, who knows what it could be. You know, maybe he had some like amazing defensive plays that won the Reds a few games and it stood out in people's minds, and then, you know, he got extra votes or
Right.
something, you know, whatever the narrative was that year, it usually factors into the MVP. I just have no idea what that would have been in 1990. What was it,
5. I guess what there's.
I mean, am I
Something.
wrong? Doesn't like usually a narrative kind of play into the
Yeah.
MVP?
Yeah. Usually. Yeah. Everybody likes a good story.
Yeah. There's usually something going on.
I just typed it in 95 NL MVP race, and it just says right here. The first thing that comes up is, and Dante Bichette loses a bizarre MVP race.
Yeah. I mean, that guy had a hell of a year.
But they must have held Coors against him.
Yeah, they must.
It had to have been.
Yeah.
But then how can you overlook Maddox?
Yeah.
19-2.
Probably just the pitcher thing, you know. They were kind of, yeah. I mean, well, there's the narrative right there. People always, they wouldn't even let Rocky, well, Alex said this in a past episode, they wouldn't even let Rockies into the Hall of Fame until, like, the past couple of years. People
That's
always, they didn't let, like, Todd Helton had some years that were insanely awesome, and, like, Arenado and other guys, but they don't get all the recognition they usually get because people dock them for playing at Coors. And back in the day, they really, really docked you for it. Like, I was a young kid, and I remember people talking about Coors Field, you know.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know why, because everybody plays there.
Yeah.
Everybody's got a fair shot.
Well, I mean,
the home team.
The
plays-
Rockies play 81 games there, and the other teams play like 3.
I mean, that's true, but I mean, everybody's got their shot at Coors.
Yeah, I mean they can all go sign there and play. I don't know. I mean, it's not like they're cheating. It's just the elevation. I mean, it's just it is what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, for as much of an advantage it is to the hitters there, their pitch. It would suck to be a pitcher there.
I just looked up a list of biggest MVP snubs of all time, and 1995 Greg Maddux. It's right here.
It is. Well, it also says that the 95 MLB season was the first season played under expanded format, but it also only had 144 games because of the strike.
Wow.
Mm.
Okay.
Wow, this is
That was a weird year, it sounds like.
it totally is.
There's something about the 94-95 Major League Baseball strike carried into the 95 season. They shortened it to 144. Schedule started on April 25th.
All right, well, I guess we can quit digging into this MVP debate. That's not really what we're here to do. So Barry Larkin is on Ray's list. Now, was that your 4, Ray?
We have my 4.
4. All right, well, that's everybody's 4 then.
Yeah.
So my 3 is Joe Morgan.
That's my 3.
It's also my 3.
It's also my 3.
It's also Drew's 3.
Oh, well. Morgan was one I was worried that people were going to push back on because he played other places for quite a while. But Joe Morgan, I was trying to think earlier, did we have him on our 3 greatest second basemen's list?
Yes, all of you had him as 2, and I had him at number 1, I believe.
Okay. Well, we're talking about a Hall of Famer, 2-time MVP, back-to-back, by the way. 10-time All-Star, 2-time World Series champ, 5 Gold Gloves, a Silver Slugger, All-Star Game MVP. He has 2,500 hits, 268 home runs, batting average of 271, 1,600 runs, 1,100 RBIs, stole almost 700 bases. That was his career numbers, not just his Reds numbers. Sorry, but his Reds numbers.
I can tell you right now.
Okay, go for it.
Let's see. For 8 seasons with the Reds, he batted .288, but had a .415 on base, .470 slug, had 152 homers, 612 RBIs, 220 doubles, 27 triples, and 406 stolen bases in just 8 seasons. He led the National League in on-base percentage 4 times with the Reds and won back-to-back MVP awards in 75 and 76. And every year he won the MVP, they won the World Series. And let's see, where was I? Sorry, I can't remember if he was the World Series MVP. I think he was. Or no, he wasn't.
No, he's not.
He's not. No, he's not. And yes, and he won 5 straight Gold Glove awards in Cincinnati as well. So yeah, he's a fucking boss. That's what that means.
Yes, he was.
Like I said, I had him as the greatest second baseman of all time when we did our thing. So I think very, very highly of Joe Morgan.
Well, the other thing is too, is you talked about he won 2, or we said he won 2 MVPs. Well, he also had 2 really good seasons before that, where he lost to Johnny Bench and Pete Rose.
His
Yeah.
teammates.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just looking at my Reds list, and I've got 6 guys that won MVPs on my list, and 2 of them won 2 MVPs.
Yep.
So the Reds have got some really good players. We're going to have to
Oh,
leave
yeah.
somebody really good is going to get left off.
And Joe Morgan was an all-star every year as a Cincinnati Red. He went 8 for 8 on all-star appearances. So yeah.
And he won all 5 of his Gold Gloves in Cincinnati.
He was awesome, man. I mean, how many second basemen could do the things? I mean, he just did so much. He was just awesome.
He was an all-around player. I mean, he didn't really
was.
have a ton of home run ability, but for a second baseman, he did fine.
Oh yeah.
His on base percentage stuff is nasty.
Yeah. He even led the league in slugging percentage one year.
Yeah.
All right. Well, does anybody else have anything to add on Joe Morgan? He was unanimous, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, Wade, who's your 2, sir?
Johnny Bench.
Oh, he's my 1.
Johnny's my 1.
Johnny's also my 1.
He's Johnny Bench is Drew's 2. So
Well,
again,
Bench is
unanimous.
on.
1s and 2s.
Hell
Well,
yeah.
I mean, pretty simply, I had him as the second greatest catcher of all time, and we did the catcher's list. I think everyone else in here had him at 1 or 2.
I'm pretty sure I had him at 1. Who'd you have ahead of him?
Pudge.
Oh,
I'll be honest, I thought you had Pudge at number 1 too. Maybe not. I know I wasn't the only one, but anyway.
I might have, but he was 1 or 2.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think everybody had him inside the top 2. So obviously he's very, very highly thought of. He spent his entire 17-year career in Cincinnati. Sorry, I don't know what just came out of my mouth.
Cincinnati.
Yeah, Cincinnati. Jesus. Anyway, 267 batting average, 342 on base, 476 slugging, 389 home runs as a catcher. Very nice number. Just a little bit under 1,400 RBIs, 381 doubles, 24 triples. You know, you get it. He was a Rookie of the Year. Made 14 All-Star games, won 10 Gold Gloves in a row, and was an MVP in 70 and 72, and obviously was on their World Series teams, and I believe he did win a World Series MVP.
He did.
And so, yeah.
By the way, 16 people did not vote for him for Hall of Fame.
Jeez, that'd be slapped.
I mean, yeah. I mean, he's probably, somewhere in the top 3 or 4 as far as greatest hitting catchers ever, somewhere in there, and he's got 10 Gold Gloves. I mean, that's insane company.
There's a lot of people out there that would put Johnny Bench on their short list of greatest players of all time.
All kinds of people have him as the GOAT catcher.
Yeah.
I mean, lots of people do. I mean, like I said, I personally have Pudge and then Johnny Bench, but it's not like, I mean, I don't think I'm insulting him by saying he's the second greatest catcher of all time. But
No, he don't care. He's making he made that big money.
Well, when you win a Gold Glove at catcher and in the same season hit 45 home runs, you're doing some crazy
That's
stuff.
impressive.
Yeah.
Yes.
it's like you're combining like Yachty and Mike Piazza.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Pretty much what you're getting.
You get two MVPs, 10 Gold Gloves, 2 World Series, including a World Series MVP. Not a lot of people do that.
His accomplishments and overall numbers are super, super impressive no matter what position you play. But then you throw in the fact that he did all this as a catcher, and it just makes it that much more impressive and him more valuable, you know? He's doing all that as a catcher is rare, very rare.
I wonder what drags his WAR down though. Like his WAR for his career is only 75.
Well, I mean, compared to like some of the top dogs in the Hall of Fame, I mean, his career totals don't necessarily stack up to like some of the elite guys that in WAR, you know.
By the way, speaking of WAR, did you guys see that Fangraphs made an announcement the other day that they're redoing how they do WAR?
Oh, no. Great.
Yeah, so now they're going back and redoing everybody's WAR from the past.
Oh, jeez.
And so, like, there's, like, current players, they're like, what? Because, like, Mookie Betts' career WAR dropped 3 points. Like,
Did Trouts go down?
I don't know. Trout wasn't one that I saw. But, like, Mookie was the one that dropped the most. Mookie's dropped 3 points. Who was it? Somebody else has dropped a decent amount. I can't remember. But yeah. I'm just like, and a lot of people were like, because I was like, well, this is just another reason where I'm like, oh, like we're changing the way we score it. Like I thought it was kind of a negative. But then I listened to this baseball podcast earlier, which I really like. But pretty much they were saying that anybody that doesn't understand what WAR is doing and everything, and how good WAR is, and blah blah, is an idiot. And I was just like, I don't know. Like,
What are they changing? Did they say that?
they're changing how they calculate defense.
Okay, but do they explain like how?
I can't even explain to you how they do it now,
Okay.
or did it
So
before. So
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. We already shit on it. It is what it is. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, maybe. I mean, hopefully, when they change it, it's more effective. I don't know, but just see what happens. I guess. But yeah, it doesn't look good that they're changing it or just out of
No,
nowhere.
it doesn't.
It doesn't
Yeah,
look good at all.
it doesn't.
well, I found this out the other day, which made me laugh. Do you know that there's not a single Major League Baseball team that uses WAR?
Really?
Their front offices, they all have a whole analytics staff now,
Right.
and they do all this analytics work, and nerds with computers and all that stuff to try and help look at what they're going to do for their players and who they're going to bring in and stuff. None of them use WAR.
Well, that shows that we're legit.
Now, they do use things that we don't even know what it is.
Right, sure.
But, yeah. All right, well, do we all just have one player left?
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's Pete Rose,
B
Yeah.
Rose.
Yeah.
the hit king. I'm going to say something very weird here for those of you that aren't aware, but he's not a Hall of Famer. He does have an MVP, a Rookie of the Year, 17 All-Stars, 3 World Series, 2 Gold Gloves, a Silver Slugger, a World Series MVP, and 3 batting titles, and he's the all-time leader in hits. He's also the all-time leader in games, plate appearances, and at-bats, in case you were interested. He has 4,256 hits. Yeah, we talk about how 3,000 hits is such a big milestone. He has 1,200 more than that.
It's nice.
160 home runs, 303 batting average, 2,100 runs, 1,300 RBIs, 198 stolen bases.
He has 2,100 runs.
Yes.
Yeah,
Wow.
we talk about 3,000 hits being a big deal. He had 3,300 just as a Red,
Oh dang.
and then like you said, 4,000 total. So
Yeah. I mean, you're talking about the runs. Way he has 2,100 runs.
Mm.
He batted leadoff with Morgan, Bench, and Foster behind him.
right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Pete Rose wasn't he's like Mr. Hustle.
Oh yeah.
Like he was busting his ass getting around those bases, and he was like hustle personified. He was, yeah.
Charlie Hustle.
Yeah. He was a beast.
Yeah. I mean, when I think of the Reds, he's the person I think of.
Oh yeah. I think so.
Yeah,
He
he's
and
the first
Johnny
person
Bench.
that pops in my head. And and he's just had such kind of a bizarre life and career. Everyone knows who he is. I mean,
Even non-baseball fans know who Pete
Yeah.
Rose
Oh
is.
yeah.
The guy that got in trouble for cheating in
yeah,
baseball.
gambling.
Man, and he was also at a WrestleMania. He was stuck in a chicken costume, and I do believe Kane choke slammed him in the middle of the ring.
That's
So-
pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. I'm kind of looking at his MVP season going, really?
What you got?
Well, he batted 338, which is nice. He led the league. He won the batting title. With 5 home runs, 64 RBIs, 10 stolen bases. I don't.
Well, you got to think though. Back in the day, winning the batting title was a very big deal.
Yeah.
Not like it is today. No one gives 2 fucks. You don't even hear. I don't even know who does it half the time. Like, because no one. Like, I'm being sarcastic, but like, I mean, it's just not a big deal anymore because people don't. It's not important. The batting title used to be a huge deal.
It did. And he was a leadoff hitter. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
So like,
it has something to do with the RBIs.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying you get what I'm saying? The thought process of the batting title, I think, is just different than it used to be.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying he should have lost. It was just interesting to see some pretty small numbers there, especially when the guy that came in second place hit 44 home runs, had
Oh,
120 RBIs, and still batted 300.
A 39
That's
home run
nice.
difference is a big deal.
Yeah.
It is. Who is it?
Willie Stargell.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And the guy that came in third is not Barry, but Bobby Bonds.
Bobby, yeah.
Oh. Yeah, there's definitely an argument to be made there, I'd say.
But yeah, anyway, I just wanted to look at that because I saw his stats. So we have 3 guys unanimous again: Pete Rose, Johnny Bench, and Joe Morgan. And that leaves us with 3 guys for 1 spot. Which those 3 guys are Barry Larkin, Joey Votto, and Frank Robinson.
Well, looks like I'll have the deciding pick here.
Yeah, it's kind of what it looks like, Ray.
Indeed.
And I will tell you, I don't mean this to sound bad, but I don't really care that much.
Yeah, I'm not over
Yeah, I'm not. I'm with you because Frank was my next guy.
Yeah.
Here's how it is, Ray. I'll just tell you the truth.
Okay.
Votto played for the Reds longer and has better numbers for the Reds. Frank Robinson's just a better all-time great player, but he wasn't a Red as long or as near as Votto was. So then his career Reds numbers aren't as good.
Okay.
So you have, one's was an actual Red longer and probably meant a little more to the actual franchise, and one's just an all-time great player that spent the first half of his career as a Red.
And both are good choices.
Yeah.
On most teams, they'd both make it.
Yeah, you're probably right. So,
I mean, both of them have MVPs, and yeah,
So,
most teams they'd both.
Let me ask you guys this, and I'm not trying to necessarily sway anybody, but if we put Frank Robinson on, all 4 guys will have played in the 70s Reds. Does that make a difference?
yeah, Frank Robinson wasn't on the World Series teams and stuff.
He wasn't?
He got traded before the World Series teams, I think.
Oh,
Because they won in, 75 and
You're right.
76?
You're right. He was gone in late into the 60s, so I was wrong on that. That's my bad.
okay.
Well, I mean, it's still close time period, though.
Yeah.
He just leaves right before they start winning World Series.
Which kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
in his 10 years in Cincinnati, it is the longest stint of his career, and he's a fucking boss. I mean, it's Frank Robinson. He got over the 1,000 RBI mark in his first 10 years in the league as a Red. I thought that was impressive. When I was looking at Barry Larkin, Frank Robinson had more RBIs in 10 years than Barry Larkin did in 19.
Yeah.
As a Red. Oh.
So what are you thinking there, Ray?
Well, since we got a bunch of old guys up here, then we're going to bring it to relevance and put Joey Votto on there.
Sounds good.
All right.
Yeah.
So for the listeners, make sure everybody's aware, that would bring our Reds Mount Rushmore to as follows: Joey Votto, Joe Morgan, Johnny Bench, and Pete Rose. I have to text this to my father-in-law. He's a big Reds fan.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So, yeah. See if he agrees. For Christmas last year, I almost bought him a Dela Cruz jersey.
Actually, you should text him. I'm curious what his will be.
I'll text him right now. Does somebody want to introduce the next segment while I do that?
Have we established what years?
17.
Okay.
And for our next segment
There you go.
is our MVP debate. And the time frame we're going back to this week in the DeLorean is 2017.
And who were the MVPs of 2017?
I have it pulled up.
Altuve and Giancarlo Stanton.
I like it. I like it a lot. Ooh. I think Altuve's will be pretty interesting.
Yeah, there is just a lot to discuss with him.
Yeah. Well, again, he's not a. He's not that he has no power, but he's not like a huge power. He's not a slugger that hits like 50 home runs. I think he's had a few big home run years or decent ones, but sometimes those guys, it makes I can't talk right. I'm sorry. It makes the argument interesting if a guy's doesn't have like 150 RBIs and 55 home runs. It makes it kind of interesting.
Well, here's his numbers. He did not lead the league in WAR, but he had 112 runs.
Okay.
204 hits, that led the league. 24 home runs, 81 RBIs, 32 stolen bases, 58 walks, a 346 batting average, 410 on base percentage, 547 slug, 957 OPS.
But you're right, Wade. He's not a big power hitter, but the guy that came in second place is
Yes.
Who is it?
Judge.
Yeah.
Judge led the league in runs with 128. He had 154 hits. He also led the league with 52 home runs, 114 RBIs. He also led the league with 127 walks. He hit 284, but he had an on-base percentage of 422.
Ooh.
Higher than Altuve's, who hit 60 points higher than he did. And a slugging percentage of 627 for an OPS over 1,000.
And then you go a little farther down the list to Mr. Mike Trout. And he only had 92 runs, 123 hits, 72 RBIs, 22 stolen bases, 94 walks, batted .306 with an on-base percentage of 442, slug of 629, an OPS of 1.071.
What were his
led the
homers?
league.
33.
33. Gotcha. That's some interesting stuff going on there.
Yeah.
Did any of them win Gold Gloves or anything? Do we know anything about their defense? Was there any Gold Gloves given out to any of those players?
Ooh, that's a good one. I don't know. Let me look.
But I think
Yeah, they
usually,
don't list that on their stats.
2017.
that usually factors in. I can't remember off the top of my head if Altuve has won any Gold Gloves.
Altuve has won one, but not this year.
Okay.
He did not win a Gold Glove. He won a Silver Slugger at second base.
Okay.
Aaron Judge has never won a Gold Glove. And Mike Trout has never won a Gold Glove.
Okay. That's good.
He plays center field.
Who has the highest WAR of the three? Does it say on the page?
Judge.
Judge does?
Yeah.
Trout only played 114 games, while the rest of them all played over 150.
Okay. All right. Well, here's also something that might be a factor. What was going on team-wise? What was the team success difference here?
Sorry, I'm texting.
Well, while you're looking that up, I'll mention a pitcher here. Corey Kluber from Cleveland went 18-4 with a 2.25 ERA and a WHIP of .869.
He was really good there for a little bit. He was really good.
Well, I know the Astros are going to be good because they won the World Series this year.
Okay.
So they're at least going to have a record to make the playoffs.
Well, the Yankees were really good, though, too, at that point, weren't they?
They went in the ALCS.
Yeah, so their record's going to be good, too.
Because this is the year they got caught cheating.
Yeah.
The Astros. This is the cheating
Right,
year.
this is the cheating year.
The Astros won 101 games.
Okay.
Now, we obviously know they cheated, but we agreed not to look at that because the voters didn't know that.
Right, the voters wouldn't know that. Yeah.
Okay. So do we think Altuve is the best defender of the three main guys? Well, Trout.
I think
Trout
Trout's the
plays
best
114.
Yeah.
You say Trout?
I think Trout's the best defender of the three.
Yeah, I do too.
But is he is well,
The
okay.
Yankees won 91 games, by the way.
Okay. But Trout, you said Trout only played 114 in
Yeah.
games.
114.
Okay.
Yeah. And they'll probably come in last place. So
He's kind of out.
they went 80 and 82.
Okay. So it's pretty much just Judge or Altuve, pretty much.
Pretty much.
I keep
Hey,
forgetting
by the way, I just
Houston's
wanna-
in the American League.
Huh?
I said I
Yeah.
keep forgetting Houston's in the
I
American
know.
League.
Yeah.
By the way, I just want to point out Uncle Doug talked about Corey Kluber's pitching numbers, which were nice. Led the league with 18 wins, led the league with a 2.25 ERA. But what's more impressive is on the season, he hit 500.
Oh. Was he 1 for 2?
Yep.
Oh!
1 for 2.
1 for 2, yeah.
Oh, that's
Now,
sneaky
I
devil.
do have an interesting question here. I'm looking down at Corey Kluber's WAR 7.9, okay, which is way up there. And then you've got the next guy down, Simmons from the Angels, and his WAR is 7.9. But you scroll over at his numbers?
Is that Alderton Simmons or whatever?
Yeah, Aldridson.
He was like the best defensive infielder in the league for a while, so he probably got hella defensive WAR points.
Okay.
Because he was like the insane shortstop defensively for a few years.
Well,
he also has a platinum glove.
Yeah, he was the shit there for a little bit.
All right, that must be it. Because I mean, I'm looking at his numbers. I'm going, where'd that all come from?
Yeah, he wasn't an overly great hitter.
Larry said, that's my father-in-law.
Yeah.
Larry says that it is Robinson over Votto. And he said it's a very hard debate between Larkin and Morgan.
Oh,
Interesting.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Larkin's probably one of those guys that means a lot to like Reds fans. Like some players are just like that. They're loyal to the franchise. They're there for a long period of time, and some fans just really love that stuff.
I wonder how. Maybe I should ask Larry this. I wonder how Reds fans feel about Morgan because he left in the middle of the Big Red Machine stuff.
That's
Right.
true too.
So like, did he hurt their feelings as Reds fans?
yeah. And I don't remember what went on. I don't remember why he
Yeah.
left. I just don't remember. I just remember the Big Red Machine, and then it kind of all falling apart.
Where'd he go? I can't remember.
He went out west somewhere,
I
Seattle
don't
or
remember that.
San
He
Diego
just
or.
disappeared.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I can't even remember where he went.
Dang, it's
Yeah, it's crazy. A guy, every time he wins the MVP for you, you all also win the World Series, and then he just ups and leaves.
Yeah, that's kind of
I
stupid.
don't remember whether it was his choice, their choice. I don't remember. Yeah.
I mean, his 8-year stretch there. Is
Well,
insane.
he bounced. He went to Houston and then to the Giants for 2 years, then to Philly and then to Oakland.
Did he have any like really good years in any of those places, or was he kind of getting old?
In Houston, he batted .243 with 11 home runs and 49 RBIs.
Not the greatest.
And the Giants, in 2 years, he batted .270 with 22 home runs and 92 RBIs. With Philly, he batted .230 with 16 home runs and 59 RBIs.
Who took over from Morgan at second?
I believe Rose did. They moved Rose to second when Morgan left.
Okay.
Because Rose played like multiple outfield spots
Right.
and like
They were
third,
always moving
second, and
around.
first.
Yeah. I just wondered if maybe they had a young second baseman they wanted to bring in, or maybe there was young somebody someplace else, and I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. Anyway,
So are we doing the boards again for our vote for the MVP?
yeah, I would like to do the boards. Yeah.
Yeah.
I grab those again.
Does everybody think they know what they're doing here?
I think I have enough to go off of. Let's see if anybody else has some questions.
I don't think so.
Sorry. I think I'm good.
All right, I got mine. My answer, I mean.
Okay, I got one.
Everybody good?
Yep, I said
Yeah.
no, Judge.
I said no, Judge as well.
I just said no. Well, I meant
I
towards
just
Judge.
kept it the same.
So we have 3 people that say no, 1 person that says yes. 2 of us have already said we think Judge should have won it. Wade, are you thinking Judge or are you thinking somebody else?
No, Judge. I think Altuve's season is really, really nice overall. I'm not gonna lie.
He does have a nice season, you're right.
But Judge's his power numbers and his on base percentage is very, very, very nice, and that's hard to overcome.
And his team still won a lot.
Yeah.
It's not like the Yankees
Yeah.
were scrubs. I mean, they
Yeah.
still won over 90 games. And,
He made the ALCS.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
So they were very successful.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, it's really, really hard for me to like the Astros at this
I
point.
know,
It's
yeah.
so hard for me to like
I'm
the Astros.
sure there's some bias there on my part, even though I'm not supposed to.
Like, I'm not even like, that's the thing is, like, I'm a Red Sox fan. I think everybody knows this at this point. But, like, they beat us in the first round of the playoffs in the division series. Then they beat the Yankees in the ALCS. Then they beat the Dodgers in the World Series. And then it all came out that they cheated the whole time.
Yeah.
And it's like, those 3 fan bases really have never forgiven
No.
the Astros.
And
Because,
shouldn't.
yeah, right. Yeah.
I have no problem with that.
And the fact that the Astros got off scot-free is what really pisses me off more than anything.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, the Patriots got in more trouble for deflating balls than
Right.
these guys did for making a mockery of the sport.
Yeah.
Well, they got in trouble for deflating balls because they got away with Spygate. Let's not fuck around here.
Yeah. But and MLB commissioner did come out and say the other day that his greatest regret so far in his tenure as the commissioner was not punishing the Astros.
Yeah.
He said he should have done something.
Think about it. The Astros and the Patriots both pretty much just got away with what they did.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest.
Mhm.
They both got away with the 2 biggest cheating scandals in modern.
Because they were scared it was going to make a mockery of their sport.
Yes.
So they tried to semi-cover it up. But football just did a better job.
Yeah.
Because football burned the evidence.
And
Right, yeah.
Literally. They
Right,
said,
literally.
Goodell said, light that bitch on fire now. Now. This ain't leaving this room. And all of our teams were affected by that.
Oh yeah.
We lost in the divisional round and the championship round to them, and then you all each met in a Super Bowl.
Yep.
Like, yeah, and then we talked in that one episode. They blocked the Steelers the one year in the championship game, and then there were other, teams. Like it's unfortunate.
Oh,
Yeah,
Go
well,
down the road.
here's my thing. As far as like the damage it could do to a sport, there is an argument to be made there that it's more damaging. But like, is betting on baseball worse than what the Astros did?
I would say what the Astros did is worse.
I would too. I mean, they directly cheated.
I mean, they
Yeah.
they took away, like, what Pete Rose didn't actually affect any product on the field. It didn't affect like actual outcomes of anything. Like the Astros completely destroyed the potential legacy of another team or other players by cheating. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, what about the Black Sox? They were
Well, that's a little more.
because I believe it did directly affect
Yes.
play.
Well, yeah, the whole fucking team had like 2 players that lost on purpose. Yes, that definitely. Yeah, I mean that's a whole nother ball game. That's a whole nother. Yeah.
So I would say that what the Astros did is worse than steroids.
Steroids is more of an individual person thing,
Yes.
while the Astros was a full team thing. So I think, they're just kind of different groups of things. I think I get what you're saying because like the Astros, it was a full team activity that affected more, while steroids is usually more of an individual person cheater thing. So there is more destruction when a whole team cheats.
So let me ask you this. I'll pull up a stat so I can talk to you about it if you need to. But do you think take the cheating out of it? It doesn't exist.
Okay.
Is Jose Altuve a Hall of Fame second baseman?
I think he's on his way to be. Yeah,
I'll say, because his numbers are not too shabby.
they're pretty fucking
Yeah.
nice, and he's gonna
Yeah.
keep going for a little while.
I mean, right now, he is a career batting average of 307 with over 2,000 hits and 212 home runs with over 1,000 runs, 750 RBIs, and almost 300 stolen bases.
To be honest, I think he's already for a second baseman. That's
Yeah.
already almost Hall of Fame level
I
right
would
there.
say, yeah. It sounds like he's going to make it.
For second baseman, I think he's already probably already almost there.
Yeah, and he's only 34.
Has he got any Gold Gloves?
One. He's got one
Got
Gold Glove.
Okay.
Yeah, let's look
got
at
an
all of his accolades. He's got an MVP, 8 All-Stars, 2 World Series, a Gold Glove, 6 Silver Sluggers, 3 batting titles, an ALCS MVP.
I'd say he's in.
Yeah.
But I guess here's my thing though. We keep the steroid guys out. Does he get kept out?
I don't think
We'll see what the writers do. Yeah. I mean, are they going to hold that against that whole Astros team?
Well, I mean, I guess baseball people are weird.
Well, I think if anybody gets punished like this, at least it'll be him because I think he's the only one that has the numbers to probably get to the Hall.
Yeah.
I don't think Bregman or Correa, as good as players they are, they're all stars.
Right.
I don't think they're Hall of Fame worthy.
Yeah.
And he was kind of the face of this. I mean,
He's their best player.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, he won the MVP that season.
Right.
I mean,
yeah. So I mean Yeah.
I mean, he's been the face of the Astros for a little while now.
This will be a big question mark when the time comes. Is what are the writers, the MVP voters going to, or MVP Hall of Fame voters going to do with that?
I think one of the things that might save him though is he's still been good since then, and they won a World Series after that.
that is true.
So I think that'll probably save him. Now, like if his production, like his career was never the same, and they never won a World Series, then I mean that it looks better because he's still been really good, and they won another World Series.
Well, let me ask you this though.
Shows some legitimacy.
You're right. They did win another World Series, doing it differently and so on. But the World Series they did win, doing it. I mean, they shattered all the home run records. They broke all the runs scored records. Like the most runs scored in a game in a World Series, in a series of, and most home runs hit in a World Series, most home runs hit in a single game in a World Series. Like all those are Astros.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, wasn't there a game in that series that like both teams scored almost 20 runs?
I don't remember the scores of them.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Like, can you imagine the Dodgers? Like the Dodgers scored a ton of runs that series, and lost.
Well, if Drew was here, he'd be having a heyday with his Dodgers comment. I mean, it's the Dodgers. Man.
They lost. They won in 7 games over the Dodgers. Here, the first game they lost 3-1. The next game they won 7-6. Then they won 5-3. Then they lost 6-2. Then they won 13-12.
That's a big one.
Yeah, there's a big one. Yeah. Then they lost 3-1, and then they won 5-1.
Well, I mean, the one game was pretty big. There were some other somewhat high scores, but and which one was that? Which year?
2017. They hit
17.
they hit 15 home runs in the World Series. 15 home runs in 7 games.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
George Springer hit 5.
Yeah.
But I guess the other question is, the second World Series, did they win on the backs of those guys going nuts and hitting a bunch of home runs? Or was it on the back of their pitching staff?
I'm sure it's a combination.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because their second World Series, although I'm not really 100% sure what Altuve did, Correa was gone, Springer's gone, and Bregman has been a shell of himself for like the last 3 years.
I don't know. You can look it up, I guess.
I don't remember which year they won. Oh, I picked it on the first try. 2022.
All right. Where they playing that one?
The Phillies.
Okay. Oh, okay. Okay, I remember this a little bit.
And they won it in 6 games. They lost the first game 6-5. Then they won 5-2. Then they lost 7-0. Then they won 5-0. Then they won 3-2. And they won 4-1. And they hit a total of 5 home runs. Anyway, I could talk about this for a long time, so we should probably talk about the MVP. Or I guess we finished that one, so we need to go to the NL, don't we?
Yep.
Yeah. NL MVP. Juan Carlos Stanton won the MVP with 123 runs, 168 hits. He led the league with 59 home runs. He also led the league with 132 RBIs. He had 85 walks. He hit .281, 376 on base with a .631 slug, which led the league, and just barely over 1,000 OPS. The number 2 MVP in the MVP race was none other than Joey Votto, somebody we just talked about quite a bit, who had 106 runs, 176 hits, 36 home runs, 100 RBIs, led the league with 134 walks. He also led the league in WAR, by the way. A 320 batting average, a 454 on base percentage, a 578 slug for a 1032 OPS, which led the league.
Yeah, if you look at the votes, Stanton got 72%, Votto got 71%.
Now there's two votes difference.
Yeah, 302 to 300. I bet that's probably going to be the closest one ever. I mean, 2 vote difference. Wow.
By the way, I'll give you this person. Let's see. This person had 137 runs, which led the league. 213 hits, led the league. Had 37 home runs, had 104 RBIs, stole 14 bases, won the batting title with batting .331, had a .399 on base percentage, a .600 slug for 1,000 OPS. Came in 5th place. Charlie Blackmon, what does he have in common with low finishers?
Coors Field.
Coors Field.
Yep.
There's the narrative, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and right in front of him, at 4, he was 5, is Nolan Arenado, also from Colorado.
He had some insane years there.
Yeah.
You know, he had 100 runs, 187 hits, 37 home runs as well, 130 RBIs, 62 base, 309 batting average, 373 on base percentage, 586 slug, and 959 OPS.
And you know he was playing Gold Glove defense.
Right.
Because that comes every year.
And so you get the 2 Colorado guys, they have the Colorado bias against them, and they split their vote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you add their votes together, they win by a landslide.
Yeah.
Huh.
What's our best pitcher here?
Scherzer, maybe?
Yeah, looks like Scherzer.
Scherzer went 16-6 with a 2.51 ERA with a whip below 1.
What were strikeouts?
He had 268 strikeouts, which led the league.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah.
Very nice year. Not MVP worthy, but very nice year.
Right.
If you want the MVP as a pitcher, I think that you need a few more wins than that. Probably a little lower ERA.
Yeah.
But still very nice year. Well, I have a question. I think this is a legitimate thing. Let's take out the Coors Field thing and just say, like, it's just our opinions. With Arenado's offensive numbers being as great as they were, if you throw in his amazing, defense at third base, would his amazing defense make up the difference between him and Stanton's offensive numbers? Because Stanton's not a great... Well, I guess when he was... I don't remember how good he was when he was younger, I guess.
I mean, he was definitely better than he is now.
Yeah. But I mean, he was never a Gold Glover, was he?
No, he never won.
I didn't think so. Okay. I always thought of him in his prime as maybe a mediocre defender, but Arenado was an all-time great defender, and his numbers were pretty damn nasty.
They are. I mean,
We're talking about a multi-platinum glove winner, isn't that? Was it him or Yachty that has multiple?
It's Arenado.
Yeah.
Because in the National League, until last year, I think, all the platinum gloves were either Arenado or Yachty, I think.
Yeah. Well, Arenado didn't even get the Gold Glove this past year.
I know. I couldn't believe
They
it.
gave it to the Pirates guy, I think. But
Yeah, I
we
was
can
shocked.
revisit that. But I don't know.
I mean, I mean, what we're talking about here, I guess, is you're talking about great defense and a 22 home run difference.
What about the other stuff though? Because home runs. I'm asking, like, what is the comparison? Because I don't have the numbers in front of me.
Stanton has 23 more runs. Arenado had 19 more hits. 22 more home runs for Stanton. 2 more RBIs for Stanton. Stanton walked 23 more times.
What was the average on base percentage?
Yeah. Average, Arenado's up
28 points.
28 points.
309 to 281.
Stanton's up 3 points in on base percentage and 50 points on slugging percentage
Yeah.
and 959 OPS to 1,007 OPS for Stanton.
What was the RBI difference? I forgot. Sorry.
2.
Just 2?
Yeah, 130 to 132.
Oh. Interesting.
Wonder what the wins look like.
I bet Colorado wasn't all that good. But, of course, neither was Miami, probably.
Well, that was the year that Miami had Yelich, Stanton, and Ozuna. So they may not have been terrible.
Yeah, maybe not.
The Rockies won 87 games and missed the playoffs.
87 is not terrible, though.
Yeah.
I mean, you're okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a winning record.
Stanton and his Marlins. This is last year. Oh. They had a losing record. 77-85. Actually finished higher in their division than the Rockies, though.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, I mean, is anybody thinking about Votto at all?
I just feel like a lot of Votto's numbers are because that 134 walks.
So
I mean, that's a lot of walks.
I'm guessing he just had a crazy on base percentage that year.
Yeah. Well, I mean, his average
454.
was still good. It was 320.
Yeah.
But 454, 578, and 1.032, and he led the league in OPS. Yeah.
What were his raw numbers compared to?
He had 320, which is higher than both those guys. He had 36 home runs and 100 RBIs.
Okay.
This one's tough.
I'm trying to make it. I don't know. Okay. I think I know what direction I might go.
All right, let's vote, boys. Voting. Writing on my little board here. This was an interesting one, though.
Yeah.
By the way, Votto did lead the league in WAR. I don't know if I said that earlier.
Well, Votto was a Gold Glover, wasn't he, for a while?
I do believe he does.
So he had some defensive value as well.
Stanton came in second in the WAR, and Arenado came in third. Everybody got their vote written down?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. I went ahead and said yes.
Yeah. I left it with Stan.
I said fuck it. I put Arenado.
That's what I said.
Oh,
Arenado?
so we split.
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay.
Ooh, we split.
I'm good with that too because that is really a tough one.
Well, here's my reasoning. Okay. I think it's pretty simple. I understand the home run part. The 59 home runs, that is an amazing amount of home runs. That's one of the most we've ever seen in a season. It's like, what, top 10, 15, something like that. I mean, that is amazing. But their RBIs are almost the exact same. Their on-base percentage was almost the exact same. And Arenado is an all-time great defender. So, I mean, like, I get he hit more home runs, but they drove in like the same amount of runs. He got on base at almost the same rate. Wasn't it real close? Or did I misremember that?
Yeah, they're real close. Yeah.
So we get on base at almost the same rate. They drove in almost the same exact amount of runs. Stanton just drove in those runs through home runs, while Arenado did it through doubles and singles and some home runs. And he's an all-time great defender. So I think it's a logical argument.
Well, I think it is.
But I don't know. I just thought it'd be a decent argument to make. So, yeah. But I think Votto you can make a case too, because Votto was a Gold Glove winning first baseman. I don't know if it was that year. And that on base percentage is insane.
It is.
It's absolutely insane. So
they finished even worse though. They only won 68 games.
Right.
But still, like he's a better defender than Stanton is. He got on that on base stuff is insane.
I know we kind of glossed over him, but Charlie Blackmon's a center fielder.
Yeah, his numbers were nasty.
Yeah, he had just as many home runs as Arenado at 37. He won the batting title at 331. He led the league in runs and in hits.
I mean, yeah, you can make. I mean, there's 4 guys we just said that all had a pretty good case. I thought.
Yeah. I mean, everybody we just talked about had over 200 votes.
Yeah.
5 guys had over 200 votes. Goldsmith also had over 200 votes. We didn't talk about him, but
I mean, Goldsmith was a monster in Arizona there for a while too.
Yeah.
He was. That was an interesting year. It was.
Indeed it was. Well, we hope you enjoyed this Cincinnati Reds episode as well as our MVP debate, because I did. But we would also appreciate you tuning in next week for our Milwaukee Brewers episode. There's another long-term franchise.
A brew crew.
And another
one that's bounced back and forth.
Yeah, that's what I was getting ready to say. Another one that's bounced conferences. So that'll be an interesting one. Send us some emails. Communicate with us. We would appreciate it. And thanks for tuning in to Sports the NEMO Way.